Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
You know, we humans, we think we have it all figured out. I don't think anybody goes into the day saying, geez, I'm totally dumbfounded as to what I need to be doing. We learn the things we learn, we implement the things we know, or at least that we want to implement. If there's, let me put it this way, if there's something great out there, we're going to try and make it part of our lives. Whatever that is. And you can think of all sorts of, different mobile phone applications. Let's take this for example. Driving somewhere. It used to be driving somewhere, you had to get directions from somebody. Oh, I'm coming to your house, give me directions, right? And then there was a time where we did this thing called printing MapQuest maps. I remember my kids were in soccer and we would print these maps. It would tell us step by step how we got there. It was always funny because it took, they gave you the 5 steps to get out of your neighborhood. Now we have things on our phone that we just plug in the address and it basically does the same thing and it barks out to us. And I look back, I'm like, I can't figure out how I did this any other way. Now it's just part of what we do. And so, same thing with social media, but recently I've really started to learn more about the application WhatsApp. And who's been nudging me along is our guest today, Mark Jarrett. And he's a global networking expert and a virtual connection strategist. He's helping businesses build meaningful relationships through these strategic introductions. And he's got decades of experience with business development, and he specializes in high-value connections that drive growth and opportunities. He's very passionate about the power of networking. He's very passionate about digital platforms. He's very passionate about WhatsApp, and he's often asked me, why aren't you on WhatsApp? Why aren't you on WhatsApp? And he's slowly pulling me along. And it's helping me grow my international community. So, Mark, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me. Good morning, America.
Oh, there you go. Mark's in the UK. So we are. Most of my interviews happen in the afternoon. At least I record in the afternoon. That wasn't going to work for him, so it's bright and early on a Monday morning. So, Mark, why don't you give us your story and how you got into this global networking expert and being a connection strategist?
Sure. So both my parents had the propensity to talk to strangers, young, old, black, white, rich, poor. They didn't give a damn, and nor do I. So I've definitely inherited that trait from them. Sorry, I cut my cloth in banking and futures broking back in the 1980s when greed was good. But I spent the rump of my career in telecoms. I was first to market with logos and ringtones about a generation ago. It only worked with Nokia phones, but back then Nokia had 50% market share. And then a decade or so later, I launched the world's first celebrity chat line. If you go to YouTube and search for Dialer Star, that was me. It was everywhere for a while. Howard Stern, CNN, ABC, Wendy Williams show, because it combined celebrity and technology. They roasted me, but there's no such thing as bad publicity, right?
Right.
So fast forward to now, I operate hundreds of WhatsApp groups full of some of the world's leading thought leaders and entrepreneurs. I've created a virtual networking ecosystem. And of course, WhatsApp is a telecoms product. So I'm now sticking to my roots. It's just I'm using this very powerful technology to connect human beings. And I've been connecting people all my life. It's just that now I'm doing it professionally.
Okay. I guess you've done this with me, but I'm gonna have you do this for the audience. Pitch me on WhatsApp versus other platforms.
Well, there are 3 billion reasons why you should use WhatsApp
I
to
knew you were going to
network.
say that.
Well,
Go
it's
ahead.
true.
Yeah.
It's the world's most popular communications platform. And when I first started using it about 7 years ago, I noticed that most Americans don't use it. And I thought it was kind of ironic because it's an American product.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. Basically, the Americans get their SMS bundled into their monthly payment plans, and the iPhone messaging uh, platform was very popular. But WhatsApp is cross-platform, and also it supports up to 2 GB file transfer. I belong to a growing subset of business people who use WhatsApp as their primary business tool or communications tool. I don't use email. I try to avoid it. I use email for contracts and agreements, but
Hmm.
everything else is on WhatsApp.
On WhatsApp, can you schedule? I mean, this is why I like email. Is I can code it. I can put reminders on there that I need to follow up. Um, and that's where, I don't use LinkedIn messaging. I don't use Facebook messaging primarily for those reasons. It's almost like if somebody texts me, Mark, it's like, okay, I need to deal with this now or it's going to get buried. Um, and that's where I'm, okay, that I like email. I mean, I love the notion of being able to attach something that's 2 GB. Not that I have anything that large, but I've run into a lot of things where it's too large. Um,
Right, and you've had to resort to one of those external file transferring services,
yeah,
which you don't need because you've got WhatsApp.
yeah, yeah. No,
So those Americans that do use WhatsApp, typically they only use it when they or their friends and family are traveling overseas for the free calls and the video calls. To me, that's a bonus. The
right.
networking takes place in WhatsApp groups. Each of my WhatsApp groups has got a theme. So that might be biotech or construction, um, mental health. I've got several groups that are aimed at women. I salute women that are making waves in industries like venture capital, engineering,
Hmm.
tech, that are dominated by men. And my network never closes. It's always open. It's a 24/7, always open virtual networking environment. And it's wonderful. It's changing people's lives. One young lady from New York, for example, called Krista. She's been blind since birth, yet she enjoys skiing. Incredible lady.
Hmm.
And she found work through my network. She now works with a UK company who specialize in website accessibility.
Oh,
So,
interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's definitely making the world smaller and flatter. Um, Interesting. Now, now you have groups. Actually, some of your groups are U.S. based. I was looking through the list of groups that you have, and you have a New York group. I think you have an L.A. group. I know you have a Florida group. Um,
Yes, I
am I-
do. And the hyper-local groups meet up occasionally. Like I've got one group called Dynamic Dubai.
yep.
They've already met 5 or 6 times in person. I haven't lifted a finger. They met on their own accord.
Now,
Um,
how do these groups get started? Did they come to you and say, "Hey, put this group together," or they? I mean, they could do it themselves, right? Anybody could put a group together.
right. What I sometimes ask people, and it's a very good question, is if I was to create a WhatsApp group that revolves around you and your work, comma, what would
Hmm.
I call it?
Right.
And then I create the group, and that group becomes their funnel. So, for example, one of them is highly specialized. It's called quantum medical algorithms. Now, I don't have a clue about quantum medical algorithms, but what I do know is when you get two or more people in the same room that have an interest in it, you're going to have a meeting of minds. That group has only got six people in it, but it's magical watching these minds connect. And I surround myself with some of the world's best minds. I've got WhatsApp groups for MIT, Harvard, Stanford, Oxford, and Cambridge. They are the best universities on the planet. So I went through my LinkedIn, I filtered out the people that went to those fine institutions and just asked them if they would be interested in joining my Harvard WhatsApp group. And sure enough, they're interested.
Interesting. Now, this medical group you just spoke of, um, six people, are they from around the world? I mean, would they have been connected otherwise?
No.
Okay.
And WhatsApp groups belong to something called dark social. I don't like the term. It sounds a bit sinister,
Yeah.
but it's actually a good thing. It means that the WhatsApp groups are hidden from public view, which is a good thing because my ethos is something called open, random, and supportive. It's the antithesis of corporate thinking. Corporates tend to be very closed and secretive. I'm the opposite. I encourage people to share their triumphs, obviously, but also their trauma. We're human beings. I like to keep things real. Authenticity is important to me. Um, but these things shouldn't necessarily be in the public domain. So, yeah.
Now, the medical one you don't participate in, but are there some of the groups? What are the groups that you participate in actively, I should say?
My favorite group is the Powerful Women group.
Okay.
I've got more women in my network than men. I salute women for the reasons I alluded to earlier. And when I was about seven, an observant school teacher wrote my school report and pointed out that I should hang out more with the boys. So I don't know. I've always been hanging around women, and now I'm in the fortunate position to be surrounded with some of the most amazing women on the planet. I call them rock stars, metaphorically speaking, of course.
Hmm.
And I've got some rock star men, of course. But sorry, I'm attracted to people who are, best of breed, at the top of their game. Um, like you, Frank, in terms of networking, you're a thought leader, and people like you and me should collaborate. Uh, because we both intuitively understand that networking is about serving others. And I learned the hard way though that paying it forward, paying it forward, paying it forward. That's how I built my network by paying it forward.
Right.
I learned the hard way that paying it forward doesn't help pay the bills. So I teamed up with a company called Nas.io or Nas Daily. Uh, and their target market are people like me, community builders. They've helped me bring order, structure, and value into what I've created. Um, and now I'm asking people if they find value in my network. Most of them do, and most of them agree to pay to play, so to speak. So money is coming back into my life, but the end goal really is to make money from liquidity events or deals
Hmm.
that come about as a result of the existence of the network. That might be in commodities or procurement, um, fundraising. I mean, all startups are looking for money. So if we can find an investor, there's usually 5% on the table, and then it's a win-win-win. Everyone's happy.
Yeah. No, I definitely can see it. And you heard my opening. This is one of these things that I'm very intrigued by. It's okay, why I need to lean into this more. I need to make this part of my daily habit. And part of my challenge is a lot of the people in much of my networks here in the United States, and much of my network doesn't necessarily use WhatsApp. But I do have people internationally. Um, but you and I spoke last week when we were scheduling this, and one of the challenges you gave me, or not a challenge you gave me, but one of the comments you made is, Frank, you'll probably be surprised at the number of people you know who use WhatsApp. And so I started asking people, and you're right, they are. And it's like, okay,
Well,
why, you know, how come you haven't used it with me? And I don't mean that in a bad way, like they've left me out, but why is this kind of a secret? And some people are like, well, it's kind of a family thing for us, or hey, we're doing this internally. Um, but they're speaking that language, so to speak. And I just need to put myself out there more.
well, that's partly thanks to the parent company, Meta, who have invested quite a bit of advertising to teach Americans what WhatsApp is. And now there's 100 million users of WhatsApp in the United States. So they're playing catch up. And I've just shared with you one of the ads. It's only 30 seconds. Sorry, but yeah, it's teaching people what WhatsApp is. It's a cross-platform platform. So America's playing catch up, which is ironic because it is American. But as I say, outside of North America, um, most of the world use it. In India, it's a bank.
Hmm.
It's actual e-commerce platform. Brazil, then they go nuts for it. Most African developing countries love it. Most of Europe use it. Asia Pacific, apart from China, use WeChat more than WhatsApp. In
Right.
fact, I don't think they can use WhatsApp. Um, but in most of the world, WhatsApp is the primary communications platform nowadays. Yeah.
Well, it's only going to grow.
Yeah.
It only is going to grow. Um, I guess let's shift gears a little bit. I want you to be able to talk about your membership platform that you're putting together via this.
Sure. So it's virtualpowernetworking.com, and it sits on several platforms, but the main one, of course, is WhatsApp. So the eco product is access to the network and access to something called Remo, which is like Zoom on steroids, which I helped launch 5 years ago, which was recently acquired by events.com. Much better for networking than Zoom. School, my school community, they're actually a competitor of Nas.io, but it's helps me raise awareness about the members of my community. And I've got a power hour to teach people how to network virtually because a lot of people don't know what it is. If they want to have a deep dive, I offer a mentorship program. I do masterminds where I put rock stars like you into one room and watch the magic unfold. I've got In-Flight Connect because WhatsApp now works on board aircraft thanks to
Right.
onboard Wi-Fi. And if you go to my LinkedIn, you'll see that I posted there yesterday. A lovely lady joined my Powerful Women group. And within minutes, Paula Schwartz, who's one of those, Forbes 30 under 30, difficult to get to kind of people.
Hmm.
She responded within minutes, and now they're communicating with one another. I've got my proof of concept for the In-Flight Connect service, but my high ticket service is the Grow Global, because there's a ton of companies out there that want to expand internationally. And using the power of my 84 country specific groups, which I've co-created with trustworthy individuals who are well connected in their country,
Hmm.
whatever the client needs, a lawyer, an accountant, a distribution partner, a web company, whatever they need, we can help them. And with that, I work with Leslie Batchelor, who used to head the Institute of Export in the UK. So if the client is selling tangible products, then we can help them with, import duty, tariffs, and all that jazz when it comes to exporting that you need to know. So I think there's something for everyone uh, in my program. And if anyone's listening and would like to connect with me on WhatsApp, just go to virtualpowernetworking.com, go to the contact section, and you can ping me a message on WhatsApp directly from there.
All right, sounds great. I will get the information in the show notes on that. So I appreciate your time here today.
I appreciate yours. Thanks, Frank. You rock.
Well, I mean, I'm stating this publicly, right? I'm gonna lean into learning more about WhatsApp. Um, and as I do, I can see bringing you back on here and kind of talking about a deeper dive, a little more refinement and into the power of what this can do for networking.
Absolutely. So your first step, and I know your tech people are working on this, but usually it doesn't need tech people, but you go to web.whatsapp.com on your computer. Then you can use WhatsApp on your computer. I could not do what I do if it was purely on my smartphone, because the screen and the keyboard are too small. You know who Freddie Mercury was?
Yep. Yes.
He once said the bigger the better in everything. And when it comes to screens and keyboard sizes, he was bang on the money.
Yeah.
But I think he was referring to something else. But some things are better left unsaid.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Frank.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AMSPIRIT.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.